You ready?
Watch out.
Did that scare the shit out of you?
Not another sleuth.
Did that scare the shit out of you?
Well, hello, everybody. TGI. Well, I always think it's Friday whenever my little one has Friday off for school. So it's his Friday, not mine. It's a Monday for me. But happy Thursday. Today is March 28th, 7:30 p.m. Central. Thank you for stopping by and giving me a chance to explain some of the stuff that I have been dishing out on my channel, which is Dispatch Audio. As most of you who have been following me for a while know, that is my jam, and I like to listen to it for hours on end because I'm weird. Okay, it is what it is. But thank you for being here with me so that I can explain to you without you having to listen to hours upon hours of Dispatch Audio on this case. Well, hello, Mr. Eve. Man, Mr. Eve can make some bomb pierogies, which I was trying to scarf down before going live. My jam, that's right. So good to see everybody. Brooke, I get to see you next week. I'm so excited, Mr. Eve. Don't remind me to explain that. Archangel, good to see you. Shani, good to see you, honey. Six up. Whoop, whoop, glad to see you, Jeep girl. What it do, widow? Tits McGee, good to see you, hun. Chris, yay, I've been waiting for this. Yeah, I know a lot of people have. So your girl Eve has come up in the world of YouTube lately. I have not necessarily made the news, but listen, I was reading an article from Yahoo, and they're referencing the Independent, who has covered Sebastian's case a little bit. And Sebastian Rogers update: Dad asked the world for help finding missing son as mom and stepdad face criticism. This was at 10:30 Mountain Time today that was posted. And so I'm reading it. And I know that my Dispatch Audio has kind of launched. It's not even mine. It's Sumner County Sheriff's Office. But, I put it together for everybody. It was already on Twitter, like a very small snippet. But I got the full potato for you guys because I know that that's important. The first few hours of being reported on is so important. Those details are crucial. So I'm reading. And where is it? Right here. Meanwhile, authorities reveal 10,000 miles have been lodged. Newly released audio has given new insight into the moments after Sebastian disappeared. The archived dispatch call. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where I got it from. Look, it's my link. Bam. How about that? Nancy Grace, I'm coming for you. I'm making it in the world. Just kidding. But it's just good to see that, when you work really hard and you try to put everything together, Yahoo, I at least got the recognition. Some of these bigger channels will take it and not say a thing and poo-poo on you for that. But it's not about that. It's about Sebastian Rogers, missing since February 26, 2024. Mom was at home after a day of activities. roughly about 6:30, he is seen going to take the garbage out and comes back inside. Goes to bed at around 9:30. About 10 o'clock, hears a thump. Mom goes, "What is that? I don't care what you're doing. Just go to bed." He goes, "Don't worry about it. Good night." And that was the last time she heard from him. There's obviously more details than that, but I'm just summarizing here that that's what the mom says. The mom and the stepdad, who live in Hendersonville, Tennessee, have done multiple interviews. The only one that I honestly care about at this point in time is the Nancy Grace bombshell interview. She did amazing. I love when she nails it in the good way, right? There were times where I love her, and there's times where I don't, especially in the, what was it, Casey Anthony case with Kaylee Anthony. Every day I had a bipolar mood swing with her, watching her, because she flip-flopped up. And, you know, I get it. You have to be a little heightened to get your views and stuff. But it's a little girl, right? With Kaylee Anthony. So anyway, not that she even knows who I am or gives a shit. I'm just explaining that I do appreciate the interview that she did, because I was listening to this dispatch audio the whole time for days, and also listening to the new interviews and stuff and reviewing with Deets on the Street. Shout out to Deets for the 13 plus hour live, doing all the interviews. You rock. Definitely check her out. Amazing creator. So yeah, listening to Nancy's interview, and while I'm listening to dispatch, I'm going, that's where she's getting this from. Either she's got a source close to the case that's working it, or the family, I don't know. But what she was asking, I was trying to piece together with what things that were said and the video footage that came out. I was so excited. So I went into overtime. Thank you, Mr. Eve, for giving me that time. Yes, Rick. I haven't even done a live or did really much videos at all on Sebastian. However, sometimes if you're patient and work hard, you don't need to, you need to be well versed in what you're reviewing. So that's what I did. I sure am now that I'm able to sit and relax, Mr. Eve. How is your evening going? Thank you guys for entertaining Mr. Eve. He is a doll. He's been great lately. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Man, I have been busting my tush and driving people in the Discord that I'm in crazy. I bet I have. I know I have. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad they're doing that, because I do that for others. And it's just a courtesy thing. Use my stuff. Just drop in, girl, give your girl a break and a shout out here and there. Right? Okay. So here it is. Let's listen to the dispatch audio initial searches. I know you all have, but there's some people that are probably new in the chat. So let's just take a gander at my own video that Independent and Yahoo has dropped. Thank you very much.
Do we have an estimated time of start for the search process?
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Kind of weird to review my own video. So 6:33 is when that call came in. I can tell you that I know for a fact that they arrived within 10 minutes. I mean, 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't say it in the Sumner County dispatch, but I do know that they were already starting to look around and go to the construction site, right? And they already started to ask really good questions. I have zero doubt that the law enforcement officers in Sumner County, they did an excellent job. I have zero doubt in their abilities. I mean, look, they were looking for camera footage as of up to I think 2 days ago. I mean, they are still actively looking, searching, asking. Even if, you know, Cajun Navy decides to piss people off out there because, you know, this is Tennessee country, this is hill country. All right. You do not come on my property unless you get permission. And I don't know what happened, but I will play this for you. But apparently somebody was enraged because Cajun Navy was there trying to search for this boy. I do not know any more details than that, but I thought that was very interesting.
Great, thank you. 12 to any units that are going to be assisting with 1008. Please come to 1008 Stafford Court now, please.
Oh, go ahead.
We have any history of this address?
I am not showing any history in the cab with this address.
So no history of previous 911 calls, no previous history of anything. They would have mentioned something.
Rice, where'd y'all start? Start at the beginning of Kelly Lane 1000. We're going to work our way north up Kelly Lane. You want to take one side of the road, we'll take the other since y'all started there. That's fine. I'll get these two houses right here, and we'll take the right side. We log a neighborhood Facebook page. Post was made. 1023 checked. No motion on camera.
So the leader of the neighborhood, Facebook group put out a post. She's been very proactive and doing a great job getting the information out there for neighbors. I'm sure she has helped tremendously in getting footage that I do know. I think it was about day 3 or 4 that, I'm assuming TBI is command, if you will, at the command post. I don't know if it's Leslie, y'all. Summer Wells, right? I'm not sure if it was Leslie, but boy, did it sound like it. It sounded just like her. But anyway, somebody had actually given them the footage because they had, I guess, shared it on their phones, and it was important enough. I do believe it to be what we all have seen with the 2 flashlights, right? Or the 2 light sources with the 2 flashlights. So they got that stuff pretty quick.
Unit on Stafford. We've had an additional caller call in that lives in the same area, stating she saw someone that made the description on Hogan's Branch, male with sandy blonde hair, with a bag wrapped around his head. She also stated he had on a reflective jacket approximately 2 hours ago.
12-2-16. Do you have somebody that can respond to that?
10-4. I was out with that subject last night. Blonde with a reflective jacket. He's in his 20s.
Now, this person had been approached by this officer before. I believe this officer was just about to get off his shift, bless his heart, but he was sadly mistaken because we have a missing 15-year-old boy who needs to be found. So from my understanding, as I'm listening throughout all of this audio, this person was around the area. There had been multiple calls about this particular individual already. And I don't know if there was some suspicion around that. I just know that a lot of people had witnessed that this person was alone walking around, and that includes, near the church over here by their home, the construction site and stuff like that. I don't know an exact time, but I just know it was roughly around like 9 onward. So that is somebody that I'm always keeping in my mind, right? That, maybe there's something more to it, but I haven't heard anything else about it after about the first week of listening to all this audio.
If anybody checked this one, we'll be in straight across from the retention pond. That's a camera.
So let me exit off of this. That is the retention pond that they initially searched, where you heard the guy say footprints, right? Looks like there's footprints. That's, I think, the next video that I have. And the guy, I think the search, whoever it was. Can y'all hear me? Uh-oh. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Hello? There we go. Can y'all hear me? Ugh. Am I back? Am I back in business? Sorry, guys. It's all this fame. Just kidding. Just kidding. So, getting back on track, sorry. The retention pond here, there, this is the subdivision with the construction site where they're building more houses on. That's the initial pond. They also searched this one, of course, and there's 3 that are like above this area that they also went and checked out. This one was only like knee deep. It was very low, and I think it dries up pretty good during the summer. All right. So, what's the latest and greatest? I think that was the end of the video. I should know, right? It's my own damn video and I forgot. Yeah. Yep. All right. So, the latest and greatest is apparently TBI has spoken to Katie Proudfoot, Sebastian's mother, and Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father, who I have felt has been extremely touching in his plea to get people to help find his son. Meanwhile, Katie and Chris had to skedaddle onto Mississippi because work and threats and what have you. And I'm still confused on that. Now, JLR, I believe, said that they were at the Something Bear Park in Mississippi. And I thought about, why would you go to Mississippi? Is it about work? Do they have family there? Is Sebastian secretly being held somewhere there because of family? Maybe. Just speculating. 6 Up says, while you wait, smash that like, and remember, if you have any information about Sebastian or his whereabouts, you can contact TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Absolutely. Pin that in the chat. Absolutely. So they're camping out. I don't know where they met TBI, the parents. I would be very interested to see or hear what Seth may say about that later. But I'm sure Chris was not invited for a good reason. First of all, he's not the biological parent, and maybe he's working, right? He said he had to work. So maybe that's what had happened. He is really behind because he's been gone. What parent would go camping while your child is missing, right? Right. I wouldn't. Jobs come and go, but your child does not. And you need to go or your beloved wife's child. You just don't. But at the end of the day, we're not in their shoes, right? We don't know all of the details. But they did have a lot of time doing those interviews, right? That's another thing. So it's a weird one. I don't like to. I have my opinions, but I don't want to speak on it too harshly, you know? Allegedly. Right. Eve, do you know how far the residence is from Kentucky? I read they searched a landfill in Kentucky. Yes, they did. So trash was picked up around 5:30 to 6 a.m. that morning. And like right after it got picked up, I believe they called in, which doesn't mean anything. I'm just putting that out. But the construction site across where that subdivision is being built, that I believe that goes straight to a transfer or maybe another landfill. But for sure, the Stafford Road and the subdivision, Victoria Place, I believe it's called, definitely goes to the transfer station and then to that landfill in Kentucky. So what is it, like 2 hours away from the border? Let's look. Let's do a map time. Now, this isn't like, Griselda or Gisela. Is that her name? Grizzly True Crime. It's not going to be like that fancy. This is just winging it. But I do my best. All right. So Sebastian's house is at Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Now let's see where Kentucky is from here. Shackle Island. Tennessee has some very interesting names, road names. Wow. So I'm guessing this is the state line here, where the dots are. Oh, for real? No way. It's only 30 minutes? That can't be right. Are you for real? Franklin's pretty close to the Kentucky-Tennessee border. Well, I'll be. It's only like 30 minutes. Huh. That's not bad. But how far away is Mississippi? Mississippi. We all sang it when we were in school. I still sing it to this day to make sure I spell it right. And it's kind of fun. So the parents go almost 7 hours away, minimum, right? For what? Maybe 5 or 6 hours, let's say. For what? To go camping. Get away from it all. Tits McGee says 3.5 hours. Okay. But still, that's quite a bit away, right? I don't understand it. I don't. All right, so I'm going to pull up what they're reporting on the TBI meeting with the parents. Let's see what the top stories are, and then we're going to get into my theory. I think it's important. I do believe that the Ring camera footage that they retrieved is important for the mere fact that there were people at 3 a.m. hanging around the common area behind his house. Who does that? I mean, who does that? And then he's missing. Sorry, I just put 2 and 2 together. It makes 4. TBI, deputies hold meeting with Sebastian Rogers' bio parents. So, the Tennessee TBI and investigators with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office held a meeting with the bio parents on Thursday, which is today. This was reported at 5 p.m. Central, which was 3 hours ago. The meeting occurred but did not reveal any details on why the meeting happened or who was the lead during the meeting. Well, maybe we could ask Google when, missing child parents meet with the FBI. Let's see if we can get something. Let's see what they do. Let's see what it says. Doop, 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 doop. And again, reminder, Chris' stepdad did not, he was not invited or did not show. Either way. Wow, look at the Nintendo Switch popping up. Michael Vaughn, right? Remember that case? Sebastian. It's very interesting how the Nintendo Switch just keeps being brought up. Inside the FBI searching for Asha degree. FBI breaks down what you should do if a loved one goes missing. Hot diggity dog. Haven't I gone over this before? Remember whenever I had that Twitter troll that was like, there's not a handbook for when a child goes missing and what the parents should do. Eve, true crime with evil. And I was like, well, matter of fact, there is. There actually is a handbook, and let me give you the link. And you thought that I would have slapped her in the face. It hurt her feelings. And I was really legitimately trying to help with the receipts. So FBI breaks down what you should do if a loved one goes missing. Let's take a gander.
Something that you're really going to notice about me is that I am very high energy. I love to talk. I love to share facts.
Good for you.
Mark the 10-year anniversary of the remarkable day that 3 young women found freedom after being held captive for 10 years. We will spend time this week looking forward.
Exactly right. And considering what would we all do if we were put in that situation, confronted with a missing family member. So I went to the FBI and found they have a plan in place that we can all try to follow in those first chaotic moments. It would be an unimaginable moment. The realization that a family member, maybe a child, is missing. What do you do first? Where do you turn? FBI Special Agent Andy Burke said the immediate first reaction should be to call 911. Don't hesitate, Burke said, and then request that the FBI be brought into the case.
Depending on the size of the department or their geographic location, we may have things that they do not have access to that we can add to the investigation.
The FBI has taken steps to that end. A guide, a free app called FBI Child ID that provides a list of guidelines in the event of any missing person.
It's stuff that if it was my kid, I'm not going to be thinking clearly when it happens. And it's a good way to make sure that you're doing everything you can the right way.
On the FBI checklist, provide law enforcement with information regarding the victim, clothes, personal items, mannerisms, social security number, pictures, DNA, and fingerprints if they are available. You should ask law enforcement to issue a BOLO, a be on the lookout, and request an immediate search that involves canines.
Now, we all know that that is a given, and law enforcement should have that information and those things available, and they should know how to do that. However, there are small towns or certain areas that do not have the funding or the resources to do so. And so if that might be, something that happens in your community, just be aware this is a great resource. I highly suggest doing this.
And the FBI app makes it clear, limit access to your home until investigators collect evidence.
I think a natural parental instinct, right, is to look as hard and as frantically as you can for your child. The sooner you can get law enforcement involved, the better the chances are that we can recover the child safely and quickly.
The FBI checklist also advises you make a list of the victim's friends, phone numbers, online interests, and passwords. Your FBI contact will include access to their office of victim assistance and with it a point person in the investigation. Burke believes that can limit problems in the initial search.
I would always encourage the parents, the left behind parents, to work with law enforcement in order to make sure that what they are doing to advocate for their loved one is consistent with the investigation, with the plan of the investigation, so that we're not working against each other, we're working together.
So again, this FBI app is free. If you have a smartphone or tablet, use your camera right now to scan the code you see there on your screen. That will take you directly to a link where you can download the app for iOS and Android devices.
And just a reminder to tune in all the
All right. It did not mention going to another state, even if it's, a hop, skip, and a jump away, to set up shop in your camper because of hate or threats or whatever it may be. The popo should be on your side for that and report it. You have a child that is missing. However, again, we don't know everything. This is just the common logic I think we all could agree on, right? So, typically when the TBI meets with parents, it's behind the scenes and not put out there, right? However, this time, that's not the case. Are they prepping us for something? Are they prepping them for something? We do not know. We do not know. But I bet you something will come out. Seth Rogers has been very, very forthcoming and honest and open, and a bulldog, mind you. He was searching on his own, busting through warehouses. Where are you? Sebastian, calling his name out. Haven't seen any of that on the other side. Not so far anyway. Right? Oy. So let's get into my theory with the footage that they said, it's nothing. It's a nothing burger. It's not shown in its entirety. But I'm not so sure about that. And I think a lot of people would agree with me that there's more to it, right? So just to go over it in case no one else or anyone in the audience has not reviewed this, let's just recap. So special agents and intelligence and analysts continue to go over and review information that has been collected since the search began. They also continue to follow up on tips and leads as they come in. I know they do. I believe it. Every day, anytime they get a call, they're on it. Not just specifically the sheriff's office and the local PD. I could not be more grateful for that kind of law enforcement response. I'm serious. It's amazing. They also, again, continue to follow on tips and leads as they come in. To date, more than 240 tips have been provided, and that was as of March 22nd. We still encourage residents who live within to search the area and to check their property, outbuildings, crawl spaces, inside boats or cars, anywhere a teen may be able to hide. Again, he has autism, so not only is it extremely crucial to check and be very thorough because people who have autism tend to have specific areas that they like to go into and not be found. But it's a month. It's been a month. So always search at least twice a day is what TBI recommends, and I'm sure all of us recommend. Much of the work being done to track down information about where Sebastian may have gone is not something you will necessarily see in the public, but we want you to know that every day work is being done to find Sebastian. All right, so March 15th, they recapped basically that he is missing. Here is his missing flyer. They have covered about 2,000 total miles in the effort to find him. Wow. We continue to work with Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the FBI to be proactively pursue information that may be relevant to search for Sebastian. There is not proof at this time, again, this was March 15th, that there is any criminal element involved in his disappearance, but also there is not any proof that there is not a criminal involvement. So agents and investigators are reviewing any possibility at all. So we're going to listen to a local news station that has been covering this in great detail, got some information, got the footage of the, two people and behind the house thing. We're going to look at that. Because what he's, am I back? I can only have one opinion so far, right? So here is where have the areas been searched. I can tell you that this coincides with what I've heard on dispatch. I'm telling you, every single road near his home has been checked thoroughly. I promise you. What about the technology aspect? So then after this, I'm going to go into that video in the news video. Have you collected security video? Yes. Believe me when I say they have. So here is where, right here, we do caution that some surveillance video being shared in the public may have been misinterpreted or misidentified or not shown in its entirety. It has been determined that it does not hold any evidentiary significance to the investigation. Numerous search warrants have been executed. So it's always about the wording, right? So they're saying it doesn't hold any evidentiary significance to the investigation. By the way, numerous search warrants have been executed. So thought process here, you're writing that and you already have in mind about search warrants being executed. I'm thinking the home. I'm thinking that you're saying we've already been in and out of that house. Don't worry about the video. Because that's where it really picks up some steam in the investigation, right? In my mind. So don't look at the footage, look inside, right? Maybe I'm over analyzing this, but that's just how I feel. Cell phone data has been analyzed and any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, documented. Information was collected from Sebastian's gaming system and has been analyzed. With the help of the FBI, vehicles that were placed in the area at or around the time of Sebastian's disappearance have been accounted for. We don't know exactly when he disappeared. Vehicles that were placed in the area at or around the time of his disappearance have been accounted for. They were doing VIN lookups all the time. That's pretty much 50% of the dispatch audio is check this, check this, check this, check this license plate, check this. So I know they have for sure. However, I'm hoping that they caught all of the vehicles, right? If they haven't caught Sebastian leaving that home in any way, shape, or form, right? Concrete evidence that he did, who's to say everything was accounted for, right? But we will trust what they say, right? There must be a reason. These videos and all of the electronic evidence that has already been reviewed is often also being reinvestigated. So it's like there's no significant evidence in the video, but we're going to check it later. We're going to recheck everything just in case it might. So there's always a possibility. That's why I was like, okay, I'm going to invest my time into this video because it's obviously there's some contention somewhere in that. And I don't know why. But it makes me even more curious, right? So getting off of that, let's go look at the video that I made recently about the theory of the footage. Now, it's not the best artistic work that I've done, but at least it has some music. I did my best. I was in a time crunch. Okay, don't come at me.
The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very real possibility of foul play.
Now you heard that, did you? A possibility, right? Because they really don't know exactly what happened, but it's looking a little weird because there's so little, right? So I got these from Zillow. This is the previous owner. They bought this house, I believe, in September of 2022. They moved in, so what, a year and a half ago and some change? But yeah, that's when they moved in, and this is the previous owner's pictures. So I would assume, for the most part, that the lights, per Nancy Grace's interview, and what Katie and Chris confirmed, that what you're seeing now is what is there currently. Okay, so obviously here's the backyard. You could definitely probably see into it if you were like right up, against the fence line. But on this side, right here, there's some trees, there's some blockage here. But wait, there's more. So there's floodlights. All right, more floodlights. Katie's work van and the two lights that she almost forgot about. Either those or the floodlights, but either way, I think they were like, oh yeah, those. And remember, keep in mind, Chris was very adamant that the footage that, TBI said is irrelevant evidentiary-wise, he was like, that's right. You better believe it and you better not question it. That attitude, right? And I always thought that was a little off. But anyway.
One with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area.
Pretty self-explanatory here. There's a little walkway that goes from, Sebastian's home over to Kellen. I think Kellen Lane or Drive, the road that goes over here. But there's a little area that you can walk through, and I'll show you that on the maps. There's also a little area right here that you could walk through. It gets a little bumpy when you exit the edge of the home, but totally walkable. It's like a little creek bed. All right, so here's the raw footage, the original. And I think, I couldn't tell you 100%, but I do feel like this is either on Stratford, the very first house to the left on Stratford, or further up. It's either on one side or the other of Sebastian's home. Like it's either farther back coming into the neighborhood or all the way back towards the back end where the retention pond is on the left side. I'm not 100% sure. And I don't really want to out the person if I did. I don't want to out the people that own the ring camera footage, but it's far enough away where you can barely see it. So it has to be, it's not a neighbor in my opinion, like a direct neighbor.
In the video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward...
Okay, so here's the light source, which is the two, let me go back. Right here. This is my opinion only. This is alleged. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. Don't come at me. So this is what I'm talking about. I think it's either, this right here or floodlights right here. And I think there's one in the middle in the backyard. So maybe it's that. Either way, I'm going to go with this one.
Video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes.
I'm going to turn off the volume for a second. So the camera is probably coming from, again, like I said, on the other side of Stratford, maybe up a little bit through this little area. Or maybe over here, or on the other side of Stratford, way back there. I don't know yet. But here's those lights on the garage. And, subject 2 is here. Subject 1 is probably hanging out near the exit over here. Maybe.
Then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area, and that is it. I'm told it could become more significant depending on where the ongoing investigation leads.
So what do you think about my theory? Put it in the chat if you think that is a horrible, horrible idea, and horrible graphics, by the way. Get some software, loser. That's what I'm saying to myself. But anyway, I do feel like it's plausible that those two lights that Nancy Grace brought up, I wanted to play that clip. Nancy brought up the lights. She grilled them. As a matter of fact, let's see what Katie says about that, because I done forgot. So let's do that. I think it might be wise to just make sure that we get the full potato. What a great interview. JS for Justice covered it. I missed that. Oops, wrong link. God, look how many people reviewed this. Jesus. I'm just going to go to Nancy Grace's YouTube. Fine. If she comes at me, she comes at me. I just hate it because like YouTube will auto strike it basically sometimes. Because Nancy, she's greedy. She's a greedy one. Just kidding.
February 26th, Monday morning, 6 a.m. From everything we can tell, that is the moment that Sebastian's mom and stepdad realize he's gone. For just one moment, imagine that. You go in your...
Yes, ma'am.
That night, I understand from previous statements you've made that you went to bed around midnight. Is that correct?
It is.
And to you, Mr. Proudfoot, Chris Proudfoot, did you also go to bed at midnight or before or after?
No, ma'am. We went to bed around the same time because we were on the phone together.
But I
The
needed
look
to,
on her
and
face.
I had been talking to my husband on the phone. No, not yet.
Woke up at 6 o'clock. Is that the normal time you wake up?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a heavy sleeper?
Off and on.
Do you take any medication at night that would make you sleep?
No, ma'am.
Oh, her
But you
prosecutor
heard
showed.
nothing.
I did not know.
So we know he is alive and well at 10 p.m. At 6 a.m. He's gone. You say he's never left before. Is that right?
Correct. He's never run off before.
And could I confirm, where was his bio dad at the time he went missing?
I believe he was at work in Nashville.
By police?
Multiple times, yes, ma'am.
Have scent dogs looked at your car?
Yes, ma'am.
So your car's in the same place. You get in the car, you start looking in the neighborhood for him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you call Mr. Proud.
In her baby blue Infinity. Remember that on the audio, dispatch audio that I got? That kind of struck me odd, that the way the dispatcher said that. In her baby blue Infinity. I was thinking to myself, has that been talked about already? This early? It's weird.
Outfit, right?
I believe I was already on the phone with him at that point.
Okay. Question. Who called 911?
I did.
You did.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
time?
Without looking at a call log, I can't give you the exact time, but on or about 6:20.
Well, we know it's 6:33 though. We know that. So maybe there was a minute where the dispatcher needed him to explain some things, but 6:33 was when the call was taken per the dispatch. So,
And had you guys been talking on the phone before 6 a.m. or did you initially call Mr. Prophet at the time you realized Sebastian was gone?
I called him when I realized Sebastian was gone.
Have you guys been out looking for Sebastian?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We were given information that you guys have left the home. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I'm going back to work.
sorry, I had to say goodnight to my littles. It was a surprise. Surprise. All right.
You're going back to work. What about you, Miss Prophet?
No, I'm not going back to work. Not yet, at least.
Now, that was the weirdest answer to the question. Like, look at their demeanor.
Been
I'm
out
sorry.
looking for Sebastian.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We were given information that you guys have left the home. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I'm going back to work.
You're going back to work. What about you, Miss Prophet?
No, I'm not going back to work. Not yet, at least.
Did you leave the home also, Miss Prophet?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To accompany my husband going back to work, and then I'm coming back.
Okay, when will you be back? Do you know yet?
No, not yet.
Are you concerned about being away while the search is ongoing?
Absolutely, I am.
Then why are you going?
Because my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
I hope that my sound bites helped you understand how I feel about every single one of those answers. I am not saying anyone is guilty of anything. I am just saying it's suspicious. That's just me. All right.
3, 10, 1.
But it probably at least 3 years ago.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint. Get Sebastian.
We're not going to go over that today.
Yes, ma'am.
So the law enforcement dogs did not hit on the retention pond. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they did. There was at least 3 that I know for a fact that did hit on the retention pond.
Now, I don't know if he was listening to the dispatch that I was, but it seemed that way when you listen to it. Okay? When you're listening to it, it's very confusing because whoever is searching is like, oh, there's footprints here. There's some roughage over here. It looks like somebody dove into the water. So I think the person that was searching automatically assumed it. I'm just going to say it because he also thought that a mannequin was a human being standing by the retention pond, and it was a mannequin. Okay, and we don't know why there's a mannequin there, but there was. So I think that guy jumped the gun. So did he listen to dispatch? Did he listen? Was he listening? Do crane operators, are they good with dispatch and learning what channels to go to? Could it reach all the way from where he was at his work? I do not know. I'm sure you could go online just like I did and get it. That's just a suggestion, and that is just speculation. I'm not saying he did or didn't. Because the news, so if you call them, they're saying no dogs hit. But can police lie? Yeah, they can. Just something to consider.
And the pond has been drained, correct? And there was nothing there.
Yes, ma'am. They have walked it, drained it, and there's nothing. The retention pond was only knee deep anyways.
On one occasion, Mr. Proudfoot, you stated that you and Mrs. Proudfoot have been, quote, vetted and cleared of fact.
Now with as many people as we had searching.
And at the retention pond. Is that correct? Cajun Navy, who has Brian, as you can imagine, because LE law enforcement know more than we think they do. I don't know the answer to that.
Point where I couldn't even form words anymore, and my husband is the one who remained calm enough to call them.
And to be honest with you, Miss Grace, the way we live outside of city limits, so you don't call 911 because you get routed.
Or
no, ma'am.
Would the dogs have barked if there had been an intruder or if Sebastian had left?
The dogs don't.
She nails her.
Me and Sebastian, because they're used to us. Even if we get up, we come around, they don't typically bark. Strangers, they do tend to bark, at least for a minute or two to get attention. But no, ma'am, they don't typically bark at Sebastian and myself or Christopher.
What kind of dogs are they?
Morkies.
Question: where is their crate located?
In the area near my sunroom.
Yes, please. And I want to follow up with, and that's not near the door?
No, ma'am.
Not near the front door.
It's near my back door, but not any of the other doors.
So you heard and you have seen the footage at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think 3:10 Ring camera footage picks up the 2 people in the back doing what they do, whatever that is, going in the common area in between the houses. Nancy nailed this. Do the dogs bark at y'all or people that are unfamiliar, strangers? Nope, just not to us. But if there's somebody that knocks on the door, they bark. Okay. The demeanor does change, Bren. It does. So that look was the same look that I had, Miss Nancy Grace, when I heard that, because I went, oh, snap. Oh, snap. She probably listened or, excuse me, was given the same information that I was listening to, right? Of the details, looking at the home, looking outside, and she's a prosecutor. She doesn't even need dispatch. She could do this on her ownsies. She was probably thinking, I don't buy this. And if it wasn't obvious enough with her grilling these parents. But that's a good point. 3:10 in the morning, you have 2 people with flashlights behind the house doing some flashlight stuff. Okay. Yeah. No dogs barking. I didn't hear anything on that video that had dogs barking at all. Not even a little. Not even the neighbors. So that's interesting to me. And I think she nailed it.
Yes, from what I've seen, the layout of the home, it is near the back door, and they would have heard someone coming in and out that back door, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No barking. Do you have a chime or anything on your doors that would alert you to the door opening?
No, ma'am.
Miss Grace, could I jump
Question.
in for something?
Yes, please. And I want to follow up with a question
Yes.
regarding Miss Proudfoot's polygraph. But please, Lauren, jump in. Everybody on the
Thank you.
panel, now is the time to ask the Proudfoots any question that may.
She said, Miss Nancy, give me some airtime. Heifer, I know this is your show, but share the wealth, please.
They shed light on what has happened to Sebastian. We are not in a judging.
You could have skeletonized after only a few weeks.
I understand you have another question.
Oh, I mean, I guess I did.
Back to Memphis right now. Are you in your RV right now?
Yeah, so he
Yes.
Flyers at a dinner table.
And goes on. Daughter, is that correct?
I think I missed where I was trying to go.
No, ma'am.
Okay. No sign of forced entry. Was anything taken from the home at all?
Not that we could find anything. We couldn't find anything missing.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm? I understand. Ms. Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
Those questions out of the way. Was Faith in the home when Sebastian went missing?
No, ma'am.
Does anyone else have a key to your home beside your immediate family?
No.
No, ma'am.
That night, Miss Proudfoot, at midnight when you went to bed, what did you do until midnight?
So we already went through that. I'm trying to
Very
find the.
forthcoming with their Ring camera.
Oh, here it is. All right.
We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Sensor light or
Got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
where do they sleep?
They have a big pen.
A pen, is it inside or outside? That reminds me of another question. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Did they activate that night?
They're not motion censored. We have lights.
Were they
not
on that
motion
night?
censored.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Look at her looking down. Now, you saw my video that I just played earlier where there are two light sources that I feel are the garage lights or the floodlights at the very, very back left corner of the house. Right? I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling her answer is maybe 100%. I'm not trusting it. So let's replay what she said.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Were there any lights outside the house on at all?
Just my little solar lights that we have in the garden.
There's two lights on the side of the house above the garage that are on at all times.
Oh, yeah, those are on.
Boomsies. Okay. The ones that I showed you in the video that I made, right? Light sources. Now, I had already did this before Nancy. But when she said that and I heard that, after listening to the entire interview for the fourth time, it all clicked in my head. Oh my God, I think I might be right about my theory. So then I published it because I can use Nancy as a great source of her questioning about the lights. There's a reason she's asking. as a former prosecutor for Atlanta, I think this is where they went, oopsies.
Oh, there's a light above the garage. It's on at all times?
There's two. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so those lights were on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I heard you say earlier, Mr. Proudfoot, that your neighbors have been very, very forthcoming with their Ring camera info. And I was trying to determine if any lights were on, what, if anything, they may have caught. But I understand from your previous interviews that nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the 2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was at all. We now don't believe that 2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
You're very correct.
You are very correct. Now, yes, again, we all know TBI on the website said it's irrelevant. Okay. But what did they tell the news? Let's see what law enforcement told the news about the ring door footage. I think we should take a listen. Was it Fox Nashville or WKRN? I think it was Channel 5 Nashville. We'll go with them. They've been great. This one guy has been covering it really, really well. That guy, he reminds me of Bill Nye, but not Bill Nye. A cool Bill Nye, a cooler Bill Nye. No, it was not garbage men with flashlights because they didn't come until like an hour, 2 hours and some change later. So no, it was not that.
This here is Shelly, who wrote you the script, and this is Fernando, searching savings with a click.
Cool. Free advertising for CVS.
Search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, who's been missing for 18 days. An exclusive look at new video evidence. Thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Rory Johnson.
And I'm Hunter Hoagland. A lot to get to here tonight. Authorities have scrutinized home security video from that Hendersonville neighborhood, trying to learn what happened to that teen with autism.
Now you can take a look for yourself. Our Nick Barris obtained video that appears to show 2 people near Sebastian's home the night his parents say he disappeared.
The video you're about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night.
It is at night, pitch black. Okay? Mr. Sir says it is not street lights, which I've already seen in my chat mentioned. Nope. Hi, Eden. Good to see you.
Pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home. It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight sometime overnight. Since his disappearance, authorities have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues.
We have had several clips that have come in,
and this one is getting the most attention.
I have seen other ones, and I really don't know what to do with them because I don't know the location. But in this video, this news clip, he explains and gives context to where the camera is, where it's pointing, and what's going on in the backyard, basically, in the side of the house of Sebastian's home.
Showing signs of activity around Sebastian's.
And so she mentions the solar. She had 2 solar lights in her garden on the side of the house. I highly doubt, I really do. I doubt that the light source here is solar panel lights that were from the garden. No thanks. I believe it's the lights above the garage.
Home the night he disappeared. You see two light sources, which we've circled to help you follow. For point of reference, the security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area. In the video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes.
So see what I did there? I listened to all of the news clips I could. I listened to dispatch. I listened to what mom said. All of those things. The footage of the camera capturing all of this stuff. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not trying to prove it to anybody. I'm just saying from a logical standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, no matter who's behind these two subjects, that's what I'm seeing.
Before that,
right?
Is subject 1 a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area, and that is it. I know there's not much to see here. You certainly cannot identify anyone, but those close to the investigation tell me the mere fact that there is now evidence that someone is in the area around Sebastian's home is significant. This video shows suspicious activity in the immediate area the night Sebastian disappeared. Could one of these subjects have been Sebastian? Did he meet and leave with someone? Sebastian's father says his son would not go with a stranger.
Okay, so we can go ahead and establish, right, that stepdad was not there. He was at work. From my understanding, that's been confirmed. So the theory that a lot of people, including myself, have had about this is that those two who were in the home, which was mom and Sebastian, having his torch light missing that Seth Rogers right here gave him, which would probably theoretically make him feel comfortable to use, right? While potentially being guided out of the garage, side door, whichever, or the back, and then potentially meeting someone, a third party, waiting for Sebastian maybe, or whoever it is. Because he did not walk away on camera. So if all of the cars have been vetted that were around the area that night, and there's no other footage that should have captured him walking away somewhere, a vehicle took him out of there. Period. Right? He was covered when he left this subdivision, Victoria Place. Okay. Oh, give me just a second. Somebody sent me something. Okay, one moment. Something that Seth said. That's interesting. So he was obviously in something that took him away from here. Okay. Who was guiding him to a vehicle or whatever else may have taken him? And where did he go? And why is he being taken? Because I'm pretty sure we would know by now if her work van or her other vehicle, her baby blue Infinity, would have been exiting the neighborhood. I'm sure someone in that neighborhood would have put it out there. I would hope. But I don't see that. So I think the best way to get him out without being discovered, however that is and whoever did it, was the way that they did it. And they knew it. So I would be very interested to see what one of the cars that were vetted, right, that the TBI said they vetted, is in fact the one that took him. That's just my theory. That's just my opinion. All right. Give me just a second. Let me check on something from Discord. I have no idea. When did you send it? Did you message me? You did. Okay, I'm going to play this on my phone. One sec. One sec.
Speaking of flashlights, was it a Ring camera or a neighbor who saw 2 flashlights in his backyard? What time was that? And I'm sure that you've seen the infamous lights. What has law enforcement told you about that?
That it's not flashlights.
Did they say what it was?
They said it was the trash truck.
Oh, really? Is that where that came from? They said it was the trash truck? I need a moment. I did not know this existed. One moment. Sorry, I had to say a few cuss words. I'm back now. Thank you for getting that into my peripheral. Tits, I appreciate it. I had no idea. I don't watch that creator for obvious reasons, but it's good to know that. He has got to be off his rocker or law enforcement is trolling the shit out of him. I don't know what to tell y'all on that. Was it from last night? Okay, I didn't know. Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Eve. So carried makes sense. Dogs picked up scent at the construction site. Maybe he tried to run from whoever had him putting a scent down there. Maybe. I do not know. I think, I looked at the dispatch and listened to it from the night before, the day before. Early that morning, there was no suspicious circumstances calls that seemed relevant to the area at all. I know that they requested gas station cameras, local businesses, you name it. And there has been no word of that. So, very interesting. Wow. It was garbage lights. Boy, if you don't. Why would the garbage people be meeting other people and handing off things with flashlights? He's off his rocker. It really bothers me. Does the suspicion increase for anyone knowing that? Put a one in the chat. It does for me.
It's up in the air for me because I don't think he would get into a vehicle with somebody unless he knew them.
So what exactly are we seeing here? I know investigators are doing what they can to try enhancing the video for any more clues. For now, this video is now part of the Sebastian Rogers missing person file, and I'm told it could become more significant depending on where the ongoing investigation leads.
Now hold on though. He just said they told him it could change depending on how this investigation goes. I think that goes without saying on how the investigative tactic towards suspects go. I don't know. What about you? Maybe I am jumping the gun on that. Prying Paula, can you play the video and explain to me how those lights could be a truck, please? It can't be. What I'm saying is this is what I think the lights are. Because again, Home Dude said the camera was pointing towards the back of the house. Okay, here's the back of Sebastian's house. And there are 2 light sources. Start from the beginning.
The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very real possibility of foul play.
Okay, so the camera is pointing towards the back of their house. Okay. There's the 2 lights above the garage that I think is what's on the video. It just makes sense to me because of what he's saying. See that? They're always on. Is that what he said in the Nancy Grace video? Yes. Right?
2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes. That's not exactly what that was at all. We now don't believe that 2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
You're very correct.
Okay. Question regarding your vehicles. Ms. Proudfoot, what make and model do you drive?
I drive a Infinity SUV.
Year?
2017.
And sir, what do you drive?
I drive a diesel truck, Chevrolet.
Year?
Hasn't moved. We can't give out that information because we don't have permission from her work.
I don't understand.
So the work van was something of contingency with them without actually having the information that she asked. Well, why can't you? We don't have permission from, her work. Well, have you asked? Well, no. Okay. Red flag. No matter if they're guilty or not, doesn't matter. The suspicion has been raised, right? I also have something that I would like to share with you regarding the white van. Let me pull that up. I think this one's it. Is this one it? Nope. One moment. Excuse me. My apologies.
You know, if anybody checked this 139 Little Bend straight across from the retention pond,
Heading missing juvenile, 1008.
LT, we're now headed back south.
Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. You don't want to miss this one. You want to hear this, I promise you. I just got to find it. It is about the white van.
12 to any units that are going to be assisting with 1008. Please come to 1008 Stafford Court now, please. We log a neighborhood Facebook page. Post was made.
Stafford.
I was out with that subject last night. Blonde with her.
I'm going to keep looking for it. I'm going to keep playing Nancy Grace real quick.
Saying that what?
About the make and model of the vehicle.
I have a work van that was also parked in the driveway.
Why is that, if it's out in the driveway where people can see it, why is that privileged information?
We just don't have permission from her company to divulge that information.
Have you asked?
No, ma'am, we have not. Nobody's asked us
So
that
that
question.
was, okay, so you have a work van. Question to you, Ms. Proudfoot, what do you do for a living?
I am an installation technician.
That night, was the work van blocking your driveway? Could someone go in and out of your driveway?
The van is parked at the back of my driveway, so someone can pull in, yes.
Got it. Do you park your Infiniti SUV in the garage or outside the garage?
In the garage.
In the garage. Do you have an automatic garage door?
With the clicker.
Right. Do you leave that up or down at night?
Down.
Could anybody lift it up? Like, is there an on and off button outside, or do you have to know a code or have the clicker to open it?
You'd have to know the code or have the clicker.
Does Sebastian know the code?
Not to the garage door, but to the man doors.
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
The regular door, yes.
So is there a code to get in your home, or do you use a regular key?
There's a code.
And he knows that code?
Yes, ma'am.
Question, I'm just trying to figure out how he would have gotten out, or if somebody came into the home. Could they have gotten through the garage door? No, unless they know the code or had the clicker, which they did not. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, ma'am.
Could he have left on his own through those doors?
He could, yes, ma'am.
But I heard in another interview where Mr. Proudfoot said he was not a, quote, wanderer. He didn't wander around. He had never left the home before on his own. Is that right?
Correct. We haven't had issues with him running or taking off in the past.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions regarding the doors. Do you have any home surveillance, anything at all that would have given us an idea or a clue if the door had been opened or not, or a window?
Not directly from our house.
Well, then from where?
That's what we were hoping that neighborhood ring cameras and may have picked something up.
Gotcha. I want to go back to that night. You said you were up till midnight. You were reading something. What were you reading?
A chapter for school.
A chapter for school. Are you in school?
I was, yes, ma'am. I've since dropped my class.
I wonder what she was going to. Oh, yeah, she said business
For
administration.
the time.
What are you studying?
Business administration.
Gotcha. Where do you go to school?
DeVry.
So that night you go to bed at midnight after you've been talking to Mr. Proudfoot on the phone. You put the dogs away in a cage, a crate, inside the home, and you go to bed. Did you check on Sebastian at that time?
I did not.
Okay. Do you normally?
Not typically. Since he's gotten older, I've not been checking on him as frequently throughout the night because normally he's good to go in his room once he goes to bed.
Earlier you had stated you heard a noise in his room before you went to bed. What time was that?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. What did it sound like?
Just a thud.
A thud. You stated that you said, look, I don't care what you're doing in there, go to bed. Is that right?
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, no, ma'am. And I said, well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep.
So you heard his voice at 10 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any idea what the sound actually was?
I do not know.
If he
Okay, I found it, guys. Thank you for being patient with me. So this was on, this was the same day he went missing, but at 6:00 at night. So this was 12 hours after he was reported missing. I want you to hear this.
Yeah, for Power State, she lives at Milestone Beach. Missing a white van, female driving. Thursday.
Okay, so it's hard to hear. But this person, this neighbor, lives about a mile from beach. Has been seeing a white van. A female driving. It happened last Thursday. Comes back to a business. All right. 12 hours after he was reported missing, that was the first time that someone called in saying that they heard about, witnessed a female driving a white van in that area a mile away. It's a business van. Now, I don't know if it's directly connected to her business that she works for. All I know is that that was one of three. And it was in different areas. So I don't know if that has any relevance at all to being suspicious. I mean, it kind of comes off as, implying that she's scoping out areas. I don't think that. I mean, she's an installation technician, right? Whatever she's installing, she goes to a lot of different places around, I'm sure, where she's from. It's just something that I think is important to keep in mind, right? That is what's been reported a few times through dispatch. Again, could mean nothing. Could be just citizens being really, really aware of their surroundings, and she just happened to work in these three areas, right? But it could be something else too. We don't know. But the van has been a hot button topic for a little bit with with everybody.
If he were to go out his window, what would he step on?
Lone Wolf says she works for Brinks. I heard it was Ring or ADT. Like, there's been a lot of speculation. I don't know exactly where she works. You would think that I would vet that really thoroughly. But I don't know why I didn't think it was relevant, because I think I heard it from Nancy when she asked, what do you do? I'm sure a quick Google search would probably clear it all up. You would think. Does she have a LinkedIn? Yep. Brinks, you're right. You're absolutely right. You are correct. So wait a minute. You mean Brinks like security? You mean like home security monitoring Brinks? One moment. Excuse me, I just needed to step away for a minute. Catch my breath. Okay. Well, I have never heard of anybody not having at least something like a camera in their house when they work for a company that could probably get them a discount on it. That's just me. Cussing? I was cussing? What do you mean? She's a technician installation. Right. I have nothing. Yeah. Mhm. That's all I'm gonna. You know what? I think it's a good time to wrap it up. It's been an hour and 30 minutes of your time. I appreciate you
Bushes.
being here with me.
Subject to briefly appear and move toward the first before that light.
So, getting back onto my theory, which was the entire point of trying to at least explain why my theory so far is the best I've got on Sebastian Rogers' case, again, is because of those lights. Nancy nailed it. Thank you, Nancy Grace, for that interview, because without that, I don't think that I could have explained it as well as I've attempted to do today and in the video that I made. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for being here with me. I really hope they find this teen who deserves to be with his dad per the agreement they made. My heart's with the family. I cannot imagine being so worried about where he is. But I think that this is solvable, and I think there are people who know exactly where he is and could be found. And I think what a better time than to just do it now. Maybe that's what the TBI was informing two people who they met with today. We'll see. Guys, I want to thank you for being here again. Hit the like button before you leave. I'm almost at 5,000 subscribers, which has taken only 2 years. No biggie. Nonetheless, I am so excited that you are all here with me. I really appreciate it. So we're going to do a members only celebration once I hit that 5K, baby. I think I've paid my dues for it. Anyway, have a great night, guys. Prayers for Sebastian Rogers to be found safe. Much love to you guys. Bye-bye.
She worked hard for the money, so hard for the money. I worked hard for the money, so you better treat me right.